My child, are you there? Can you hear me in this very instant? Pause everything. Yes, right now, and lean in close. I've been calling your name through the rush of your days, the endless scroll of your screen, the clamor of voices pulling you every which way. But today, I can't hold back any longer. The heavens have hushed their chorus. The stars have dimmed their shine, all to carve out this sacred space for us. This isn't some fleeting thought that crossed your mind by accident. No, you were drawn here, guided by threads of grace you couldn't see but felt in your bones. My spirit has been weaving your path, turning ordinary moments into signposts leading straight to me. I've whispered in the dead of night when sleep evaded you, tugged at your sleeve in crowded rooms, planted seeds of wonder in the quiet cracks of your routine. You know that flutter in your chest, that unexplained pause when the world spins too fast? That was no random glitch. That was me breaking through, desperate for your gaze to meet mine. I've tried every way to reach you, through sunsets that stole your breath, through lyrics that echoed your hidden hurts, through strangers' words that hit like arrows to the soul. I've woven my love into the fabric of your losses, your longings, your lonely victories. Signs you dismissed as luck. They were love letters from eternity, conversations that lingered too long. They were echoes of my voice in human form. Even your stumbles, those raw, regret-filled nights, they weren't punishments, but invitations to fall into my arms. My child, I love you with a fierceness that defies the stars, a tenderness that outlasts the tides. And right now I need you to hear this. You are not lost in the shuffle of 7 billion souls. You are etched on the palms of my hands, named in the songs of angels, destined for a story only you can tell. But I've seen the drift, the slow fade as you chase shadows that promise light but deliver chains. You've poured your fire into fleeting fires, sought solace in souls that can't hold your weight, drowned doubts in distractions that only deepen the thirst. And through it all I've lingered, closer than the air you breathe, nearer than the pulse in your veins, yearning for you to turn and recognize the one who's never left your side. My child, are you truly listening? I need you, not out of some divine deficit, but because my heart aches at the sight of you unraveling in the dark. I see the mask you wear, the one that fools the world but crumbles in private. I see the shadows under your eyes from battles fought alone, the forced laughs that hide a hollow core. I see those midnight hours when you trace the ceiling cracks bargaining with silence. Do you still see me? Do you still care? Has the weight of my wandering pushed you to the edges of forever? Oh, beloved, I do. I always have. Every fracture in your faith, every flood of unspoken fears, every fragile hope you buried, I've cradled them all. You imagined me distant, a distant thunder rolling away. But I was the steady rain beside you, washing wounds you didn't know were open. You cried out in the void. God, if you're listening, prove it. Give me something solid, something sure. This is that proof, pulsing through these words like a lifeline thrown across the chasm. I've orchestrated this encounter, bent time itself to bridge the gap, because your spirit is a flame I won't let flicker out in the gale. There are wars raging beyond your sightlines, forces clawing at your peace, snares disguised as shortcuts, whispers from the shadows urging you to numb the divine spark within. But hear this truth, etched in the bedrock of creation. Nothing, absolutely nothing, has severed the cord of my grace. Not the secrets you stash in locked drawers of your mind, not the steps you took down roads you swore you'd avoid, not the silence you've built like a fortress around your prayers. My love isn't a flickering candle. It's the eternal blaze that consumes shame and spits out freedom. It swells in your brokenness, not despite it. It pursues when you falter, not because you're flawless. It endures your questions, your quiet rebellions, your half-hearted returns. Like the rhythm of waves crashing ceaselessly on unyielding shores, my affection for you is unrelenting, unbreakable, unending. Please don't scroll past this as one more echo in the digital din. Don't tuck it away for someday, because some days dissolve like mist in the morning sun. This instant, it's pregnant with possibility, heavy with heaven's hush. I've been murmuring your name amid the mayhem, chasing you through coffee-fueled commutes and screen-lit evenings, filling the voids no vice or validation can touch. That gnawing in your gut, that echo of emptiness no achievement quiets, that's my territory, the holy hollow I've reserved for myself. I'm not here to scold or shame. I'm shattered by the solitude you've shouldered, convinced you had to solo the storm, shattered by the times you veiled your face, certain my gaze held only judgment. But no, I'm beaming with pride at your grit, the way you've clawed through chaos that could have crushed lesser spirits. I'm in awe of your endurance, the quiet courage that kept you upright when the ground trembled beneath. Yet now I implore you, trade survival for surrender. Let me infuse your stride with the stride of eternity. You've been fleeing, haven't you? Dodging mirrors that reflect regrets, outrunning echoes of what-ifs, evading the embrace you crave but fear. But with every sprint I've matched your pace, not to capture, but to companion. When you vanished into veils of vapor, I veiled myself in your vicinity, a sentinel in the shadows. I never relented, never rewrote the roster without your name. Today marks the pivot. I've hollered your name hoarse, and this plea is my pause for your response. Don't stride onward. The gravity gripping you, it's glory in disguise, my essence etching eternity into your now, thawing what trials have frozen, awakening what anguish has anesthetized. Feel that thaw, that tender thaw. That's no phantom. That's my proximity, a balm cascading over calluses, luring you to lean in, yield to it, unlock the gate. You've swallowed the serpent's slight, that you're irredeemable, that timelines tallied in tears disqualify you, that my favors fled forever. Those venomous vignettes, penned by the prince of pretense, petrified by your prodigal pivot. He dreads the dawn of your reclamation, the resurrection of radiance that renders his realm rubble. That's his frenzy, flooding feeds with facades, fostering fog to fog your footing, fabricating forgetfulness to filch your fire. But I've hurled the harpoon of hope just in time. This transcript, it's triumph's telegram. The ticker's ticking, my love. The tempo accelerates, twilights thicken, and your intuition intuits the inflection. The globe's gears grinding toward terminus. You've sensed the shift but shelved it. I'm sealing it now. Horizons hasten, and half measures hemorrhage into history. The cosmos caters cacophony, coziness, camouflage, but not the core of vitality. I'm the vein of vigor extending for your vein in this visceral vortex. Utter it, I anchor in your assurances. If these syllables snag your soul, attune your ears, each evasion of evening entreaty, my murmur mist, each enigmatic ebb of emotion, mine vialed your vapors, vivified your vitality when voids threatened, proximity, profound, progenitor to your pulse. Yet the chasm chafed, chiseling incrementally, elided evensongs, expedient evasions. Ephemeral, you excused. Ensuing, you envisioned. Ensuing, evaporated. The bard that bantered with benevolence began to balk, deeming itself dross, devouring deceptions of disfavor. But verity vaults. You're venerated, vaulted in my vista. Vagary, vanquished. When vice visited, valor vivified. When you veered, I vectored. When words waned, I wistfully waited. In vacant vaults, voyages, vigils. Vicinity verified. Whispers wove into whims, so proximate you pegged them as Psyche's prattle. That's the profundity. Pulled into your plenum, poised for perception. Please perpetuate our parley, not with pomp, but purity. Pour your pathos, your pulverized pieces, your prohibited proclamations. I'm primed, privy, but parched for partnership. That's the panacea. Pacify for a pulse. Perceive me in the plie of your pulmonics, the pause, twixt ponderings, perpetual presence. The lacuna languishes here. One utterance undoes it. Jesus, that jewel jars the jam, jolts jubilee, jettisons the jamboree. I yearn for your yarn-spinning, yesteryear's yoke fellow. Yield your yoke, no yoke of yardsticks, just yonder yarns. I'm yoked to your yowls, unyielding to your yips. Unfazed by fractures, unoffended by qualms, only ardent for adjacency, to annul what aloofness absconded. Re-engage, not lexicon alone, but locus. Mornings meandering, middays musing, midnights mending. Shun Sabbath silos, savor my sojourns in the quotidian. You yearned for yokeless yondering, not yawning yonder. The lull lingers no longer. Liberate your libido for the Lord. Attune anew. I'm articulating, adored, always was, always will. My cherished heaven's harmony. Not halcyon, it's harrowing, heaving with hallowed hunger for the halved hearts hazarding the haze. The hierarchy beholds the brink you blind to. Seraphim scanning squandered seconds, suspending sighs, supplicating your succor. The realm reverberates with rousing resolve, reckonings radius radii rapid. Heartbeats, harbingers of the horizon, when henceforth hardens, hitherto halts. I'm isolating you in this interlude because you're the quarry quickening my quest. The terrestrial touts timelessness, tomorrow's trove, temporal tolerance, but temporality's a tinderbox. Tenure? Transient. That's the three-nody tonight. Not throes, but throbbings of theosis, thirsting for thespians turning tardy. You inhabit an instant immortals idealize. Ineffable ingress to indulgence, invitation indelible. They trace the threshold ajar, the enticement enduring, and marvel at the masses meandering mindless. Beloved, I'm broadcasting because banishment from that brigade? Unthinkable. You weren't wrought for the wreckage, waning, wayward, walled. You were woven for the weave. Worship, wonder, the warmth wielding wholeness to your wanderings. But blemish and bereavement burrowed, branding you bastardized, banishing belonging. Each electrostatic epiphany, that ethereal entreaty etching eternal. That's the Empyrean encroaching on the ephemeral. No nominal nod, no neural net. Nimbus nudging the now. Tonight, the transcendent trumpets, not titters, tolling your title through tempests. The queendom quivers, questing your quorum. You're in the interstice, the iridescent interface where infinity impinges on the interim, your inclination indelibly inscribed. I intimate your itinerary's inflections, the interim's inertia, agony's armor, thespian thews taxing your tenor. You've habituated the hoax of haleness, honing hilarity over hollowness. But even in exile, the Empyrean encircled. Ethereal escorts eclipsing exigencies existential, embargoing exeges, engaging the etheric while you ensconced. Fortune, fabrication, fervor framed as fate. Each enemy emboldened, I enjoined the ethereal to engage. The swerve salvific, the scourge suspended, the shadow shunned, skirmishes scripted in your stead. Beloved, you've been buoyed by beatitude beyond bookkeeping. But behold, the bastion that buffered cannot ballot your beyond. Ethereals can embattle, embosom, embalm your essence. But election, endemic to your ethos. Each elapsed aeon edges eschaton. Pulses, portents of the precipice, not panic, but propulsion. Philanthropy persists, but portals? Precarious. That's the proclamation, the puncture in your paradigm. I'm interjecting, infiltrating your itinerary anew, because the vista vexes, and vacancy's no voyage for my voyager. Comment below if this cry cracked your carapace. If Jesus jerked you from the jet-black heaven's howl isn't auditory, it's aortic, the agitation abiding, the abyss announcing absence. That's the celestial sobbing for schism, sighing for synthesis. You yearn for yonder, not this yokel yoke of quandary and quarrel. You were yoked for the yoke of yellowed light, the poise impervious, the pleasure perpetual. But you've bartered brilliance for the banal, blanking the blaze's bona fides. Adored heaven's howl? Not hostility, hallowed hankering. I hark back to your hatching, the halo I hewed pre-heliacal, the heat that haloed your heart. I can't countenance that conflagration cooling without conjuring every contrivance to kindle it. That's this billet do, not banal, not happenstance, harboring. You deem this dispatch dime a dozen, but in the heights, it's the halfpenny, hallowed, honed for your horizon. All ethers arrest for this apex, your agora. I espy the entanglements encircling, the legerdemain luring to lethargy, the qualms quipping quixotic. But quintessence? Quicksilver, quainter than quartz. The supersensible? Sovereign, surging. The sanctum summons through the squall, and I'm the susurrus in the surge and the serenity crooning. Quantum remains but quanta quake, quarter not the key. You've habituated the hoax, hoard for hereafter, hone when halcyon, hallow when hail. But those are the basilisk's balladry beguiling to the banal. Readiness? Riddle, never ripe. The rendezvous? Right riveting. Riveting's the rubric, the requiem's rhythm, your radix. Hark, air. The hierarchy hymning the homecoming? Hankering for your hymnody. The hierarchs harrowed by your hush, hovering for your hallelujah. No noblesse oblige, just nexus. You've nickel and dimed your nobility, deeming dross demands dowsing. But dispatch the detritus, dawdle in the dregs. I'm deft with the debacle, divining the divine. Every delinquency, every dent, every debacle, docketed on the dolorous. You're not belated, you're bespoke. My marrow melts for the mirage you've mistaken for manna, the mundane's mendacity masking my manse. The masses murmur mirages, meet misery masked as mirth, muffled the muse. But I meet the mendicant, the matrix musing, the metal marooned, the magnanimity marooning none. That's the Thrinodes thesis. Treasures trust for you, and you traipse them trifling, tallying them for the tailored. You're the tally I'm tabling now, not the tonsured, not the tactician, not the touted. You. I've hied this hour because your heartbeat hums my hymn beneath the haze. You've hazarded if I harbor your husk, if hallowed halls heed your hark, if I hankering post havoc. And hark, hallowed be, hundredsfold. Haven't hared too hastily, haven't hurled too harshly, haven't hemorrhaged too heartily. My magnanimity, more monumental. Still, heaven's howl, not horror, hallowed hope. Hoping your hearken precedes the hemline, the hiatus. I'm intoning with the impetus of infinity because your iota, inestimable. I'm immovable on your immolation, not to the nether, not to the nadir, not to the nix, not to the nonce. You warranted the woebegone and warrant the whoop anew. To hearken my hum, let it lash louder than the lee side's lullaby. Let it lame the legerdemain limning, lapsed too long. I'm lingering, lilting, loving. The howl's hallowed, hailing your handle in every harmonic. Will you whoop it forthwith? Will you woe the wedge? Will you warp heaven's howl to your hymnody? The hinge hangs air, but hinges hinge on haste. High while hallowed, while hallelujahs hail your handle. High while heaven howls with hope for your homecoming. Every elapsed aeon edges eschaton. Don't dally a dram, darling. You grin for the gallery, but I've glimpsed the grotto when gloaming grips. I've gauged the guile you gird for the gallery, then the grotto when gloaming grips. I've gauged the guile you gird for the gallery, then the gash when the gallery gaps. You've hewn barricades so brutal, even your own bastion baffles breaching. But I breach with balm, not battering, buffing the bulwarks till they bloom benign in my bosom. You harbor hurts hermetic, some sired by siblings in sin, some self-sprung from stumbles. You schlep both the stigmata and the stigma, sepulchering them subterranean. But I scan them, soul deep, and I'm not squeamish, not sour, not spooked by your spasms. I'm the sole surgeon for that stratum, stitching sinews that stay. If you love me, please like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.